Fellas, say goodbye to Chuck Sherman the boy. I am now a man. I highly recommend you join the club. We are doing the wild thing all night.
Acid house music.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Sherm.
Sherman, I cook all this food. Is that all you gonna eat?
General Sherman realized and understood the importance of house music.
So, do you know anything about techno?
No.
Listen.
Get it on. Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another brand new episode of Sherm In The Booth. I'm, of course, your host, Sherm. Today is Wednesday, January 15th, 2020. This is episode 95095. Can't believe we're only 5 episodes away from 100, but we cannot stop now. I am so excited for you guys to hear this interview with a friend of mine. I've booked her myself. I've seen her DJ many times. She goes by the name of Abigail. I was introduced to her by her boyfriend, Zooey Glass. I had him on the show about 2 years ago. They are part of the Manifest group, and I am such a big fan of everything they do. New, innovative, creative. They do it all. They do a lot of awesome stuff up at Smart Bar in Lakeview. Smart Bar, I've talked about on this show a multitude of times. It's recognized on a worldwide scale for so many different things, but you guys are going to hear it in the interview. Abigail is just getting started. She is so talented, and we got to the nitty-gritty in this one, guys. Her upbringing, her influences, and of course her goals for the future. Make sure you guys stick around after the interview for her guest mix as well, but without further ado, let's do it right now. Episode 095 with Abigail. Okay, Abigail.
Hello.
Hello, welcome to Sherm In The Booth.
Oh my god, thank you.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I just had an awesome time talking to you, by the way, before we got on air.
I had a great time talking to you, too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, I just want to say, first off, you are definitely one of the best fucking local DJs that I've seen here. I want to acknowledge you for that, because I thought Seamus was next fucking level, but you've risen to his level. Seriously.
I came out from left field, from behind the shoulder, whatever.
Yeah.
However the phrase is.
Yeah, something about baseball.
Yeah, something about baseball or
Something about
golf.
baseball,
I don't know, but I did that thing, and here I am in Chicago DJing.
Yeah.
I'd like to think I'm pretty good. I've seen a lot of really great DJs, and I think wow, no wonder I'm not totally at that level yet.
Yeah.
But practice makes perfect. Gigging as much as I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
I mean, to be able to go back to back with, let's start calling him Zooey Glass now, I guess.
Zooey
right?
Glass.
Zooey,
Indeed.
who I've had on the podcast before. Man, it was such a different time when I had him on, too, just for me, for him. I think that must have been 2 years ago now.
Oh, wow.
Maybe,
it must have been, yeah.
Might have been a little more, might have been a little less, but sometime around. And
yeah.
I remember I had a mutual friend who knew Hunter Vita.
Yes, Hunter.
Who is a flight attendant now?
He is a flight attendant.
Is that for sure?
It's for sure. He moved to New York to work. I can't remember what airline he was on, but he is a flight attendant.
Crazy.
And he gets to fly to Berlin all the time, or Amsterdam, or he's just posted in Paris.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks at a time.
God, you know what? I forgot that he was a flight attendant, and I watched his story. I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing in Paris right now? It's some sick record store on some vinyl.
Yeah.
It's man, he's got some really cool friends.
And he's making a lot of connections out there, which...
Good for him.
Yeah, it's awesome, and we're super happy for him, and excited to see where that takes him, I guess.
We'll see. Hopefully he doesn't get a Chicago roots.
I know.
Because he was a Manifest guy originally, right?
Yeah.
Still
and
is.
When he comes back, we definitely try and book him while he's here, if the stars line and we've got shows while he's back, you know? Or have him go play his set somewhere else in Chicago, and he's still repping Manifest.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, no, we miss him.
Yeah.
We do miss him a lot.
I mean, that's how I first heard of Manifest, and then I remember following Zooey because he was such a unique... His brand, his look, his image, his Instagram, everything, his mixes... I had never heard anything like that shit.
Yeah.
And I was kind of going through a phase in my life where I loved electronic music, and it's kind of funny because you kind of told a similar story to my own before we got on air. You had friends who liked electronic music, right? And you liked that, but it wasn't enough for you. And then I went to Crossed in San Diego for the first time with some of my friends. I had a friend who lived in San Diego, and we went out there just okay, I know MK, Claptone, some of the bigger names in house. And I never really experienced house like that, with the right people, in the right environment, in the right crowd. I came back from that and I was like, give me it fucking every single day of my life. It's like something in the back of your head, you know, you go looking for it, right?
No, totally.
Yeah, and then I came across Zooey and I was like, damn, this guy's doing awesome things. I love his music, and we connected right away. So it's no surprise that we're connecting.
No, it's definitely just fate, honestly.
Yeah.
And it kind of happened. Yeah, our stories are very similar about like trying to find that other experience besides just top 40 clubs, like bottle service clubs, and then something other than like a rock show or like I mean, I love rap and I love indie rock and alternative and like all different genres of music all have their place, but I just wanted to like find that like pulsing nightclub experience.
Pulsing, yes.
Yeah, I had such a hard time finding it until I don't even know, gosh. I was listening to like again Clams Casino. I was listening to like a lot of Lapalux and other like kind of electronic artists like that, and just wondering like, where does this music exist like in real time, like in a club, because it must.
Yeah.
But
somebody's playing it.
Yeah, somebody's playing it. More people than me like this, I know.
Yeah.
And so I saw that actually the first time I went to Smart Bar, or one of the first times I went to Smart Bar, was Clams Casino was playing at Pitchfork After Party at Smart Bar.
Nice. Oh, shit.
And it was when they, like, the day they dropped their, like, 32 Levels album. And I, like, brought my best friend, who I, like, met kind of my, like, 20s. She wasn't, like, a childhood friend. Her name's Lizzie.
Yeah. Sometimes those turn out to be better friends.
She's the best, and she is, like, an aspiring DJ as well. We're very, like, paralleled in our tastes and sonic sensibilities, and so she came with me, and we just, like, I transcended so
that's awesome
hard to that show, like,
so that was the experience that changed you.
Yeah, but I was like, okay, now I know where to go to find this music. I know that there are clubs that are built for this music, and there are other people who are gonna go and play or like want to come listen to this music, so I just need to like put myself out there, I guess, more to find it.
Yeah, for sure.
And it still took me a little bit of time before I really like had a true house music experience or a true techno experience. Wasn't until I even started DJing really until I started having those, surprisingly. Because when I asked Zooey to teach me how to DJ, he was like, sure, you can bring some tracks that you would like for me to show you how to mix.
Oh, man.
And oh my God.
I'd love to hear those first tracks.
Oh God, I wish I still had them. I think they were like, I can't even remember. I think actually one of them was like an Eli and Fur remix.
Not bad.
Which I think I found that on like an Apple Music recommended playlist, and I thought it was like the coolest music I'd ever heard. I mean, the track's really good.
Sure.
But then I would just find like similar tracks to that in like other playlists, and I brought them, and they were all kind of like down-tempo electronica.
Yeah.
Which I still love to listen to, but now I would never play that kind of music.
Right,
It's
absolutely.
so different from like my ethos as a DJ right now.
Absolutely. It sounds like you kind of had, I mean, really, again, a similar experience as me, right? Like, growing up, sounds like you didn't hear any techno or house, right?
No.
Were your parents musical in the house at all?
Yeah, I grew up, like, listening to 93.1 WXRT.
That comes up all the time,
Yeah, my mom was, like, super into more, like, kind of folky, like, oldies.
Okay.
But I think I get my music taste from my dad. My dad was, like, a huge Depeche Mode fan.
Oh, there we go.
And so I don't remember ever listening to Depeche Mode, but, like, I think it's kind of just in my DNA to, like that electronic music. When I heard Radiohead for the first time, my
give me fucking high
mind
five.
was blown.
Yep.
Radiohead is, to this day, still, like, the best band in the
foundation of your love of electronic
yes,
music.
that was foundationally.
Would you call it electronic music? Like, what is it?
I would call it electronic music.
Yeah.
For this interview.
That's another interview.
When I heard, like, what is it, Idiotech?
Oh, fuck.
Like, are you kidding
15 step? What is
me?
15 step? That's transcendence right there.
Yeah, complete. It's euphoric, breaks pretty much with like indie like legend Tom York, like the GOAT.
The GOAT.
The literal GOAT. And so when I listened to Radiohead for the first time, I was like, okay, this must be like alternative rock, but like what is this other thing? Like why don't I hear this in other bands? And I didn't really even have a vocabulary for it at the time, so I was just like so unaware, but like so drawn to like the darker side of like that genre even. And I used to get like teased and stuff. People would be like, Abigail, you listen to like depressing music, because I was listening to like Shlomo, like the Dark Red album, and like being like, this is such good music, and showing it to my friends, and they're like, you listen to the most like weird depressive music, like. And I was like, sure, I guess. Like, I don't know. I really like it. Yeah. So I just continued on my merry way of listening to my, I don't know, depressing electronic music. And now I'm a DJ.
I feel you. I don't have any friends from my hometown that are DJs. The one guy who's 8 years older, honestly, and that's it. Yeah. And Chicago's a little different than, I grew up in Indianapolis, right? So there's there's the Snake Pit, which I spit on.
Oh my god.
I respect it. I had my bad experiences there. I respect it. Just want to put that out there.
Gotcha.
But that's all the Indianapolis scene had for a long time. It's grown a lot, but when I went to college and like I was in electronic music, it was, cookie cutter, Rise of Avicii and stuff. Everyone got into it. I was like, I already loved this shit, Like, not even trying to be like an elitist by any means, but I was like, okay, like at least there are people now who love this shit. And then continued loving it, went to festivals, and then I got to Chicago, and I really just tried to make my name, and I was like, what type of music do I like to DJ the most? And I knew that I loved house music, but it was so hard, like we talked about before, to get gigs, unless it was open format.
Yeah.
And I paid my dues, and I did my thing, and I still enjoyed it. I still enjoy it, but like my true passion is a house and techno show.
Oh, of course.
And now meeting people like you and Zooey, that's where the connection comes from, right? Because, like, I feel like we all kind of came up by ourselves with the love, and now it's like, oh, you love Nina Kravis 6-hour sets too? Yeah. Oh, me too, right?
Like, no way.
Yeah, no way, right? Oh, what are you doing here? You like start seeing the same type of people at the same events, like, oh, good to see you,
Yeah,
it's like,
you literally, like, you're like, oh, how was, like, last Sunday? Like, did you do that thing you were telling us you were going to do? Like, you literally, like, are just so, like, comfortably acquainted with these people now. You don't even really have to like hang out with them like during your days or like really know much about them, but you just like see them so much that there's just like a comfort in that.
I know, and part of life is people moving in and out of your life, right? And of all the things that I've read and experienced and people I've talked to on the podcast, the biggest thing that sticked out to me that I almost mention every single time is this part in our lives, right? Like this 22 to 32, whatever you want to call it, whatever time, whatever age range, is when we're really finding ourselves, right? Like the core of us is always there, but who are we going to grow into? Yeah. And I feel like I'm really coming to that point. Yeah. And everybody I come across that I have on the podcast is there too. Yeah. So it's like this deep connection of like, we're all kind of finding ourselves. Yeah. And it's so special to share those experiences under the same roof of house and techno.
It's interesting. Like for me, I resonate with that a lot because I have all these like artistic interests. I went to college for fashion and I'm trying to, as much as I am trying to bring myself, like lift myself up in the house and techno scene community, like here and globally, hopefully, knock on wood.
Yeah, it's real wood. So
yeah. I want to stay true to like my other interests too and be like, how can I like still incorporate fashion into the picture? How can I still incorporate all these other things that I'm interested in, like experiential design and production? I've like taken to graphic design recently, which I know is like a bit cliche because like everyone wants to make their own like rave flyers and stuff, but
yeah, whatever. I feel the same way. I went to college for telecommunications design and production, right? See this shit right here? Yeah. This isn't my day job, right? But
this is literally kind of like my day job. Like, really? I work in production for advertising.
I didn't know it was production specifically.
Yeah, I'm the production coordinator.
Okay, so you do get some creativity during the day.
I do get creativity, but it's more like managing project to project, kind of like
for sure
whatever we have going on with any client at any given time. I know that this is not what the interview's about, but I know like all
curious,
the camera angles.
Yeah, of course.
And, like getting like the Rode mics versus like the lav mics and a boom and like all that stuff.
That's pretty cool.
I'm not a pro yet, but I try.
That's okay. Well, listen, it's not what you say, it's how you say it, okay?
Okay.
I'm in sales. That's my day job,
Okay,
right? So.
for sure.
That's
hey,
real.
we all are getting money somehow.
That's right,
Until
yeah.
DJing is that number one source of income.
Yeah, and you and I are trying to be house and techno DJs, so we better have a fucking day job while we're at
We
it.
really have to have a day job while we're at it. There's no
Yeah.
other option.
I know.
Unfortunately.
It's crazy, but it is growing so much. I mean, who are your biggest influences now?
Oh man. My biggest influences now.
Whether it be fashion or music.
Yeah. I obviously, and I don't know, people give me shit sometimes for this, but I stan Peggy Goo. Like,
Stand.
she, to me, is like, she's obviously like the darling of house music right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's gorgeous. She's a fashion icon.
Mm-hmm.
She has this big social media platform, but I think like at the core of it, she was just like, I'm like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
And like, even though people are like highly critical of her set, so many people have been like, oh, I saw her play and she wasn't any good. I saw her at Secret Project Festival in LA back in October. Blew my mind.
Really?
She played the best set of the fucking festival.
That's
like,
awesome.
Hands down. Like, she was playing ski mask tracks. She was playing like euphoric breaks into like crazy fucking vocal tracks and like at one point I think she hit like 135 BPM. Like,
Jesus.
it was all over the place, and I was just like, wow, like I've got my work cut out for me. Like, I need to like stop complaining about not gigging as much, and I need to just like put in the fucking work.
Yeah.
And of course she played like her Starry Night track, and she was like throwing merch out into the crowd, and I'm like, wow, like
we
that's...
love Eat Gay NA. Like, we fucking love that track.
Yeah, no, it's great. Her stuff is so catchy. Like, I mean, it definitely is hitting like a more mainstream market at the same time, but like,
she's
hey,
giving herself the stage to play that. And like we talked about with Gorgon City, right?
Yeah, no, if we can start introducing more of a like mainstream listening like group to house and techno and kind of introduce that kind of like push by push, track by track, like, oh, you know, like Drake, you know, Travis Scott, okay, here's Peggy Goose, try that on for size and see how it fits. Oh, you like that? Okay, now let's go like a little deeper. Yeah,
I like that.
That's how I think about it, and I think she's rad. So she's definitely, I would say sonically she's a bit inspiring for me. In terms of just like her badassness and just like
she's
her...
so cool with those fucking sunglasses.
Oh yeah. And her Kirkin line, like she's doing all the things that I basically want to do in my life, so...
I can see it.
She's definitely an influence just in life. And then sonically, I would say DJ Tennis.
Nice. He's coming to Smart Bar soon, right?
Yeah, he just played Smart Bar.
Fuck, I'm thinking of...
He played right before Rockastella, which was like in December during my
Did you go?
Art Basel. No, I didn't go.
Damn.
I wish.
Well, he's the shit.
Yeah, he's great. He's so much fun to see live. He really brings like a ton of energy and personality and
a lot of versatility.
Yeah, his stuff is like exciting. It's really like he just gets into it. He doesn't really like tickle you into it and be like, oh, like what am I gonna do? Let me like
this little piggy went to the market. I ain't like that.
It's not like let me slowly kind of like nudge you into my like crazy tennis DJ set. He's like, no, we're like off the bat. Like
this is a DJ
I
tennis
press
set.
start and it's basically like a sprint.
It makes sense with his name when you explain it like that, right?
He used to be a
Back and
pro.
forth,
He
back
used to be
and
a pro tennis player.
forth. God, he's the fucking man. I didn't know that. That makes sense, of course.
Yeah, and then I would say, God, Dixon is a huge inspiration.
I know how much Zooey loves Dixon.
Yeah, Zooey put me on to Dixon. Dixon has this enigmatic fashion, like, but he does it in such a fine art way, and I appreciate that so much, and I want to hone in on that for myself because you know, it's there's so many DJs out there, and it's become such like a crowded thing where like you start to forget that it's actually like a performance art.
Yeah.
And that like we're doing this for the sake of art. It's not necessarily for the sake of doing drugs or getting drunk or like hooking up or like staying out all night. Like this is an art form, and Dixon, every time I see him, I'm reminded of that.
Absolutely.
And it like brings me back to that like place of reverence.
I love that. I think you said that so perfectly. It's a show.
Yeah.
Right? Like, people say, when's your next set?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a set, but to me, it's a show.
Yeah. Like, if you think
We're
about
entertainers.
A lot of people are so hesitant to want to pay, like, $20 to get into Smart Bar.
Yeah.
Or another club.
What do you want to do? Go to the fucking place next door in the back, hang out at the fireplace?
Right. But I'm also like, okay, you would buy a $20 ticket to go see, like, your favorite band.
Yep.
This is kind of the same thing. Like, I'm putting on a performance. Like, I'm not strumming a guitar, but I'm, like, doing all these other fun things behind the scenes that you don't know about. And
I know. I agree. I think there was a bad layover of a longer period of time than all DJs want it, where it's all DJs do is press buttons.
Right.
Because the big guys put out a bad rap, but, like, realistically, those guys are working harder than all the motherfuckers talking shit.
Yeah.
Because you said people talk shit about Piggy Goo. One thing I've known for sure is people that are on a lower level than you, whatever it might be, those are the ones talking shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's true. And I know that, like, for me, like, I'm going to have to get thick skin.
Yeah.
Really thick skin.
People talk shit.
Oh, and people love to talk shit about female DJs.
Yeah, right?
They love to talk shit about female
Anybody
DJs.
talking to your face? In the DMs? Nothing to your face, right?
Oh, in the DMs, yeah. I had, like, one guy I played at Soundbar a year ago, and I like posted all these videos.
Didn't you guys do like an installation there too?
Yeah, we did an installation.
That looks awesome.
It was Hiroko opening, and then Zooey and I supporting, and then Hyperactive headlining.
Yes, right. That's awesome.
I mean, Soundbar is such a fun club to play in. Oh my god. Like,
that booth, the speakers.
So nice. The lasers, nothing tickles my fancy more than a good laser, let me tell you.
Yeah.
That's like the most fun.
Smart Bar does a great job of that too, with the smoke, and you don't know where the fuck you are.
Yeah, the guy who does the lights, his name's Kobe. He's like a good friend of ours, and he's just a wizard with the lights. He does such a phenomenal job.
Can I steal tickles my fancy from you?
Yes,
can I use
you
it
can.
Sometimes at least?
Use it as many times as you'd like. I think I say it too much where it becomes like kind of weird.
You tickled my fancy by saying that. That was meant to be
I'm always
sexual.
saying like,
sorry, Zoe.
I'm always saying tickle, like tickle, but
yeah.
I won't say it anymore.
People talk shit though, right?
Yeah, no, they do. And so this guy was like coming at me in the comments section, being like, "Oh, you're just a hype woman. Like you just dance next to the guy, aka Zooey, while he mixes." And I didn't even have to say anything because all my friends ate him alive in the comments. And then eventually he like commented on another one of my posts being like nice eyebrows or like saying some shit, and then like unfollowed and blocked me. That was like one pretty where I was like, wow, this guy's like really coming like hard for...
Sounds like the bully at recess that has a crush on you.
Yeah, it was probably one of those, but I don't even know. I think he's definitely in like not the scene that I'm in.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well said.
Yeah.
I know people talk shit, but you just gotta keep doing your thing.
No, I will. I definitely will. And like.
I mean, look at where you're at. Seriously, like you just played the Smart Bar 23-hour party. Okay.
I did.
That's fucking worldwide, girl. Seriously, like I know you got the jitters, but like when I saw you guys in that lineup, I know only some, like, within this, let's just call it the house and techno Chicago scene, right? And worldwide, too, right? I knew how big that was, which is why I was fucking front row taking video. I was like, you said your mom was there? I felt like a dad. I was like, they're doing so great. Having a great time. I appreciate it so much. Brought, like, my neighborhood friends. I was like, we're all going up north, you know, we're going to have a good time. Drinks on me. I knew how big that was, so don't let any people fucking talk shit about that. I mean, the Daphne series, right? Like, that's a big deal.
Daphne's cool. Daphne's like a huge month for all femme-identifying DJs. And yeah, it's definitely... I think they could like probably market it better, in my opinion.
So, well, let's help them market it right now.
Daphne
series is...
It is all month of March, they only book female, femme, and non-binary DJs at Smart Bar.
Awesome. Every single set.
Every single set, every single night of the month of March.
Anywhere else in the world doing something like that?
I really don't
Maybe,
know.
but
Maybe.
not on that
Not
sort
on
of
like
echelon.
not on like the wokeness. They don't bring the wokeness the same
Well said.
level of wokeness that Smart Bar does,
Yeah.
where they're really like intentional about it, and they're really like.
I mean, it's not run-of-the-mill chicks, though. It's like...
No, these are like, I mean, I remember the first time I went to Daphne, like, I think the last night of Daphne, like, Miss Kitten played, and
It's sick lineup.
yeah, she did, like, oh man, it was so fun. That was a great show. That was a great show.
That's awesome.
So I'm excited to see who's on the lineup. I mean, I know I'll play with whoever we book. I'll be, like, their direct support. It would be cool if, you know, I don't know. Yeah, get Peggy Goo out. Let's see. I gotta call her agent. Actually,
Here,
now that
I'll
you
walk
mention
Seamus.
it.
Hey, can we get Peggy Goo for Daphne this year? That's what this is for.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I think you would have to probably do like, God, I can only imagine with her schedule, probably like a year and a half out.
Probably, Jesus.
How does she even keep track? I don't know.
I don't really know. That just sounds stressful. That's part of the reason I do this podcast, because I want to have a home base.
Yeah, there you go.
It's important for me to have that shit. I always talk about these big touring DJs, and I've had some guys on that do tour, and I always ask them, like, how do you keep that balance? And
What do they say?
none of them really have a perfect answer, right? Like, probably the guy who toured the most was like, I don't drink when I'm on tour, like, very little, right? Like,
Yeah.
And he, like, really rests up, works out every single day, eats extremely healthy. It's like, you're a fucking Green Beret in the military, for God's sake. I mean, some of these guys that travel so much, it's bad for your blood.
Yeah,
Fuck.
no, totally. I mean, I don't drink alcohol, which I think I like kind of stopped when I was like 22, I think. It was kind of radical. I was like, this doesn't make me feel good, and like I don't think I want to do this anymore, so I kind of just like stopped. And when I met Seamus, I was like kind of embarrassed, because I was like, I know like you're in like the nightlife thing, but I like have to tell you that I'm like not a big drinker. And he was like, no way, like I don't drink alcohol either. I've never had a drop of alcohol in my life. And I was like, oh wow, like we'll get along like perfectly.
Oh wow.
And so yeah, I'm like pretty like steady, sober Sally.
You're ready to tour.
Yeah, I'm ready for I'm ready to go OT baby. And yeah, I try to be as healthy as I can. I probably could hit the gym a couple more times a week, but
That's okay.
yeah,
I think
tomato, you know.
Tomato, right?
It'll come when it comes.
Everything in moderation.
Exactly.
I'm gonna have a sip. Is that okay?
Go for it. Have one for both of us. Chug my ice water.
Okay, that's cool. It's actually vodka.
Perfect.
But again, I it's so cool what you guys do. Manifest. I want to shout out Manifest. Your guys' collective. What exactly would you define Manifest as?
What would I define it as? I mean, to anyone that like, I wouldn't call it a collective.
Yeah, because it's not exactly a collective.
Yeah, it's not exactly a collective.
And it's not an event group.
It's not an event group.
Not a
It's kind of
agency.
like,
It's not a management group.
it's like a brand, really. It's like a brand. We do a few things. We obviously like have our event series mainly at Smart Bar, but we do lots of other places. We've done places in New York, LA. We've done Spy Bar, Smart Bar.
Huge.
We've
Congrats,
done no, it's great. We've partnered with like Old Town School of Folk Music. We've done stuff for like Soho House. It's kind of like we do Manifest shows where there's DJs and there's art installations and there's just something else besides like a traditional like club experience.
Yeah.
But then other brands will reach out to us, like Soho House kind of like knew about us through Zooey, and we're like, hey, we've got this like mixtape coming out for our music club, and it's like a performance. Could you guys do the installation? And so we'll do stuff like that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. And then we're gonna be like releasing merch soon. We did like one line of shirts that did like really well. They like all sold out, but we really want to like.
Style.
We want to come really correct with like a full line of clothing, like more than just like
shirt.
Yeah, more than just like shirts and hoodies. Like I want like a full production of like
pack.
I want a fanny pack. I want a fanny pack.
Yeah.
I want like, God, I don't want to spoil it all, but like it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be really cool. We've got like some cool artist collaborations as well, like in works. for
awesome.
like other pieces, and it's gonna be special, and like we're really not gonna do anything until it's like perfect. And yeah, and then to continue like with the DJing stuff, we were gonna do a mix series that's like really cool concept of like having DJs either like locally or like ones that we can get from around the world envision their favorite city that they've ever been to, and then imagine what the scene is gonna sound like in the future, like 20 years from now. What is
awesome.
what's like the house and techno scene in Seoul gonna sound like, or what's like the house and techno
stab at that.
Right?
That's fucking awesome.
Or like even like Chicago, what's that gonna sound like in 20 years? Like where sonically is like the music going to go? And so we're gonna do a mix series surrounding that.
That's really fucking cool.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm excited for that. And yeah, I just like that's all I want to do with my life, really. It's just like I want to build Manifest as a brand. I want to build my own brand as a DJ, and I just want to like go full throttle.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just as much as I can, like get experience doing this stuff, like come up with cool concepts, and just like spread like the wealth and the knowledge, like reach as many people as possible. So
that's great. I mean, you guys got an amazing foundation. I know how much everybody's put in hard work. Can we just do a quick shout out for everybody? We got you, Seamus, Chelsea. Who else we got?
We got Joe.
Joe.
We've got, there's a couple other people on the side that I could shout out.
Give it to them. Go on.
Okay, Mickey. Kieran and Rory. Tom Gavin. I mean, obviously Hunter. We can't forget about Hunter.
10 people, baby, to fucking create a global brand. You guys are a tight-knit family, and that's really special in this scene where a lot of people are competitive with each other, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, there's definitely, like, competition with other kind of party series going on right now. We try and, like, you know, we have so much love for the other party series, and, like, all the people running those, like, we want to have Chicago be as enriched with, like, tons of party options for the scene. Like, if you go to New York on any given weekend, there's, like, if you look on Resident Advisor, if you have, like, the app on your phone, there's, like, 9 different things with, like, the RA pick to, like, go. Like, you could see, like, fucking Justin Cudmore play with, like, I don't even know, like Kink or like whoever, just like, or you could go to see like play at like Brooklyn Mirage. Like there's so many things you could go do on any given night, and I think the more we can bring that to Chicago, it's like
I agree.
So necessary.
Totally agree. There's a lot of people saying the same thing as you guys, and I think that's what makes the difference about Chicago compared to other big cities. Like, the New York scene is really pretty fucking next level, right?
Yeah.
But they have to be competitive because even though there's a lot of people, you shrink it, right? Like, not fucking 8 million people love house and techno.
Right.
We're lucky at fucking 100,000. Yeah. I mean, that is even a lot, right?
That's a lot for, I mean, got it. Yeah. If you go to like Europe, it's like, that's the norm. That's like the minimum.
Everybody does. The baby does, the grandma does, the mom does.
Exactly.
And I think that shit is going to happen in Chicago because of sort of, I have a friend who calls our class of Chicago creating, like, we're bringing our friends into the scene who aren't DJs necessarily, and we're showing them this is what we do, this is what we've created. It's not this is what's going on, let's go see this DJ play. It's, hey, we've created this curated experience for you to share with us through our music. I mean, listen, I'm like fucking writing a book right now, right? It's and that's what it's all about. It's about the feeling. It's not like what people think it might be. Right. It's not a thought, it's a feeling. Yeah, absolutely. You have to go and experience it. And that's kind of the thing, too, about Chicago. You really got one chance with people. Yeah, and it's kind of like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, where, like, you can tell people, like, you gotta come, you gotta experience this, this get lost in a moment. Like, I'm gonna be working with my friend who's a very talented designer and content creator, and he has approached me that he wants to do kind of like a profile series on like Chicago rave culture. Nice. And I'm like, okay. Where are we going?
Yeah, literally, I'm like, how do I boil this down? I feel like I'm almost like a teacher of like rave culture, Chicago house. Like, I had to literally send him like educational materials today. We're gonna meet up on Thursday at Sohouse, and I'm gonna like come up with like a whole game plan of like, what is your idea? How are we gonna approach this subject of like the rave scene in Chicago?
Yeah.
Like, we going underground, we're going above ground, we're going to queer parties, we're going to like all the parties.
Yeah.
And you're gonna like photograph it and like come up with an angle, and then we're gonna like submit it to places, and that's gonna be so cool. But it's like,
I love that.
Definitely you have to be kind of like thoughtful on how you like intro people into raving, where like you can't just throw them into like just any show, you know?
Of course.
You kind of have to like, all right, like we're gonna dip our toes in here, and then like maybe we'll go to like Cerise after that, and then after that, like I'm not just gonna like throw you into like a smart bar on like a busy packed Saturday night and be like, all right, like here we go. I mean, I could,
right?
And maybe they would like totally get it, but like I think with house and techno, it's like you either get it or it like kind of takes you a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know, it's like Chicago, the older you get growing up in Chicago, the more suburban it can feel. And I'm not saying that like people from the suburbs can't be fans of house and techno, but I think their exposure to it is like not as available. And so it's so easy to just go to like classic River North clubs and hear like the same radio tracks and like get the bottle service.
Usually
and like
there's only one of us.
Yeah.
One or two, right? Like even still, like Tony and I and our other good friend Ray and some of our other guys, like I would really only say me, Tony, and Ray are willing to go up to Spy Bar or Smart Bar or whatever it might be. Yeah. And we're staying out till 4 or 5 in the morning for the fucking love of it, right? Like you might be able to dip people's toes in the fucking water of the darkness, really. Yeah. But it's true, right? And I think you're totally right. And it's part of being in the Midwest.
Yeah.
It's part of being in the Midwest. Yeah. It's suburbs, right? I'm just glad we have Chicago here. At least.
No, I'm so, I mean, it's like, hello, Chicago is the birthplace of house music. It's like, we have to keep the scene vibrant here. Like,
we do.
It would be such a crime not to. And, I mean, it makes sense for, like, LA to have their scene be very, like, burner vibes is what I've gotten from it.
Yep.
Like, there's enough people in, like, LA proper to have a proper scene that are into house and techno. The clubs are lackluster there, in my opinion.
True.
But
a lot of people from, like, Chicago go to LA, right? So there is a lot of, I guess, for lack of a better term, us.
Yeah.
There, you know, like, the people. But as much as the saying goes, like, I really believe it is who you're with, not where you are. Mm-hmm. I think with music and events, you need to have a good combo of both. Yeah, totally. You know, there's something special about being in a dark room with loud speakers, but to really get that out-of-body experience. Yeah. I wish that Chicago had a scene of clubs or like a system of clubs that was, you know, more like New York, where there's just so much accessible space to put an event, to have something proper, even if it's like warehouses or availability for undergrounds to happen on a larger scale or just bigger shows. There's just not enough room to I've tried. You know the fucking the thing we did at Broken English where I booked Zero, you were there, right?
Yeah.
Like I've tried really hard. No, I know. It's definitely difficult, and it's like, how do you get people who like don't know about house and techno to like want to come to an event like that? You honestly have to trick them. Yeah, you almost do. Yeah, like put in a taqueria in Old Town and like or underground, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, you've definitely got to kind of. God, I don't know. There's no like one proper formula for it or one like correct way of doing it. It's like you just have to do it until something sticks. And you just gotta keep going. If we have more venues and more spaces that can support the sound of a house or techno DJ, the scene will grow. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you even look at the clubs that are, like you said, like how Concord's booking more techno and house. Yeah. Soundbar, hello. Like they used to be just properly EDM and like dubstep. And now it's like, you know, Amelie Lenz just played there. Like, that's crazy. Yeah, they're really switching it up. Yeah, and like Lawrence is a friend of ours, and I think he's so excited to start bringing those DJs in and like be able to book those shows and see how many people are coming to the club. Like, so excited. Yeah. And yeah, it's awesome. It's really awesome that these clubs are starting to open their doors to that kind of sound, because that's how it's gonna grow.
Absolutely. Like the one, like I guess for the listeners out there, it sounds like we don't think the Chicago scene is like incredible, but the places that are running it are fucking incredible.
They are incredible.
Spy Bar sounds smart. I mean, Prism even does a pretty fucking good job too.
Yeah, Prism has started like switching up their bookings a little bit. It's like a little bit more true to the genre. And yeah, I would say if I were to rank the clubs, I mean, I shouldn't rank the clubs.
It's okay.
I shouldn't rank the clubs, but I mean,
what about like your personal favorite? It doesn't have to be the most
my
popular.
personal favorite is Smart Bar for sure. In terms of like the crowd and how consistent they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
On any given night, like it's gonna be good vibes. Also, it's an incredibly safe space, and that's very important to me.
Yeah.
Where they train their staff really well to handle any form of like harassment. They're like have such a high non-tolerance policy for any of that. Where
can I actually read a quote really quick?
Yeah,
please. About Smart Bar?
Please do.
At the bottom of all their emails, right? Like I'm of course subscribed.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell's going on?
Of course.
What parties am I going to? It says all races and ethnicities, all religions, all countries of origin, all gender identities, all sexual orientations, all languages, everyone. Share our dance floor with kindness and respect.
Yeah, and that is so true.
It's like you walk in and that gets tattooed all over your body, whether you can see it or not.
Yeah,
and that's
like,
very special.
It's really incredible. Like I've literally had situations where I've been on the dance floor and like Zooey will be like kind of dancing next to me, like closely, and there's like one time this girl came over to me and she put her arm around me. I kind of like looked at her like, okay, like that's fine. And we were just like dancing for like a long like 15 seconds of like not talking, but then she finally like whispered in my ear and she was like, hey, like I see that there's that guy like dancing pretty close to you, like are you fine, like are you uncomfortable?
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh my god, like wow, like thank you so much. That's actually like my partner, but
people are good.
I really appreciate that. Like, are you okay? Like, are you good? Okay, great. Have a good night. Thank you. So it's like very self-policing at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's looking out for everyone. Everyone just like wants to have a good time.
These are people that go.
Yeah, and like if I've had situations where like the wrong fucking guy came in and I was there and I saw it. Yeah, but like, oh man, the satisfaction I get from like getting those guys kicked out and I'm like, you looked at me, or like you're like harassing me right now, or like, oh yeah,
there's a lot of like guys that go by themselves to that.
Yeah. Or I like see other girls getting really uncomfortable and then I check in with them and they're like, actually this guy's like really like on top of me right now and like I can't get him to like leave me alone. Oh man. I get Butta. Butta is my guy. Butta and Matt. I mean, I love all of the Smart Bar staff and the security. Butta works the nights most of the time. Or he's always there when I'm there.
Butta.
I know. Or whenever he's not there, I'm always like, I can't believe it's not Butta. It's like
that's
a
pretty good.
Joke.
Yeah, not bad.
But yeah, or like Mets, like all of them are like so awesome, so fantastic.
It's
they
more of a
help.
job to them, right?
Yeah, no, totally. Like they love the music. They're like a lot of the times when we're playing, like they'll get up in the booth and like make sure like booth is secure, but they're also like very much listening to the music that we're playing and like, you know, they pay attention too, which is awesome, and like they help facilitate the like night to go as like awesome as it does on any given night. And so yeah, Smart Bar is like totally like top.
It's a safe haven.
Yeah. And I mean like after the warehouse closed down like back in the day, like Smart Bar was like the next place to like allow the genre to really like continue to blossom. Otherwise it would have just like died.
Yeah.
Like nothing would have happened. And then like I don't know if you're familiar with like the disco demolition that happened at the White Sox field. Yeah, they would have been like destroyed. Like there would have been no progress.
Such a crazy story.
I know,
Disco's
God.
Dead. Like what the fuck?
We went to like a White Sox game. I think on like I don't know how many years ago it happened, but I want to say it was almost like 40 or 50 years ago.
At least in between like 35 and 45.
Yeah, so it's like 50 years ago or like 60 years. I don't even remember how many years ago, but it was like.
Yeah, it's 2020 now. Fuck.
Yeah, oh my God. Jesus. What year is it? How old am I?
Sometimes I say the years back and I still act like it's 2011 or something.
I know, no, I'm like, oh, the 90s were like, what? Like 10 years ago? Like 5? I don't know. How old am I? I feel like I'm like fucking 18 still.
Same, yeah.
But I won't say how old I actually am. But yeah, it's like crazy that happened and that, you know, it could have just been over. But Smart Bar was around. Joe Shanahan, who owns the place, was like very committed to like fostering the community, and like he was like right up there with like Frankie Knuckles, like making sure that like that genre was still alive and those dance floor spaces were still accessible to the people that like founded them. And like, yeah, it's really, really wonderful. It's like such a great story. And then I don't know, the second one in Chicago, like my other like go-to club for like house and techno shows or like places I want to like go back and play again is definitely Soundbar. I also love the staff that works at Soundbar. They were so welcoming to, yeah, like when we came and we did the one show, they were like so hands-on with us and they were so like just eager to like help out or just make us feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. The guy who was doing the lights was like, I know Chelsea, who's on our team, she was doing lights at Smart Bar for a while, and before she did that, the guy at Soundbar knew that she was kind of interested in lights, and so he was like, oh, like come sit with me and like I'll show you how to like use the lights and the fog machine and
she
the
probably
laser.
Loved that.
And so she was able to like kind of work the lights that night, which was so cool. And yeah, it was like, I don't know, the sound system in there is like unreal. You literally feel when you're DJing up there, you feel the sound throughout like your whole body. I'd never heard my music that loud before. It was honestly like hearing it for the first time.
Isn't it insane to drop those tracks that either you A, have dropped before, B, have never dropped before, and you're like, I'm about to play this? Yes.
Yeah.
Describe that feeling to me.
Oh man, I think I was so Soundbar is the first club I've ever played at in Chicago, full disclosure. That was like my first show ever. That was my Chicago debut.
God,
and
not bad.
I was very, very nervous. And I think like the first 2 tracks I kind of like blacked out because I was like, I'm either going to sink or I'm going to swim.
Yeah.
I don't know how this is going to go down. I was like looking over at Chelsea, who was like sitting in the lighting booth, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, this is about to happen.
Yeah.
And, you know, there weren't a lot of like Manifest fans in the crowd. Like we had our friends come out, definitely, but like it wasn't. Yeah, no, the majority were people that were just going out in River North, like for a Saturday night.
Right.
And they loved it. They were like, oh man, the energy from the crowd was like so magnetic. It was so much fun. I think none of those people like kind of knew what they were walking into.
Yeah.
They didn't know it was going to be like a house and techno show, but like they were not mad about it. They were definitely like really like, oh wow, there's like an installation and like the club looks different and like there's these DJs, and yeah, it was like so cool to like have people be so interactive with like kind of hollering back whenever like there was like a good drop happening, or like clapping whenever there was like a break or like an interlude in the track.
That's amazing.
Like,
your first gig.
Yeah, I got so lucky. And like after when I walked off and like Hyperactive went on, I was just like, I could have done that for like 7 more hours. I could have like literally stayed up all night doing that. I was completely hooked and addicted from that moment on. And I was like, I'm like starting this off on such a high note that like if I'm lucky, I can like keep this up and like keep this momentum going, and like I need to like go get that again. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, I'm like chasing the high almost.
Hey, I understand.
That's how DJing is, I think. It's like you get like a really good show and like a really good crowd, and like have that moment and you have that high from it, and then you just go chase it again and again.
I mean, honestly, at least you got it. Now you're gonna keep working hard to get that, rather than maybe even starting with no one. I mean, everybody starts your first gig is always something you'll never forget. But definitely. That's pretty fucking special.
That wasn't my first gig. That was my Chicago gig.
First Chicago gig, sorry. I mean, on a grander scale, I guess.
My first ever gig randomly was in Toronto.
Fuck.
Yeah, right? My friend, one of my coworkers, he's a good friend.
Did you just have a USB on you, or did you go there?
He like flew me out. He flew me and Zooey out. So he works with me at Havas, and he runs the experiential marketing like arm of Havas.
Sick.
And yeah, he's awesome. His name is Jason.
What up, Jason?
He,
I'm free. I'm down for Toronto.
He is originally from Canada,
Yeah.
and he's also a part of this little experiential group called Warhol Kids. And
Okay, I think I've seen Seamus post something, or I've seen that before.
you might have seen like the flyer for it, I suppose.
Maybe.
I
That's
don't know.
awesome,
Maybe.
though. Yeah.
Yeah, Warhol Kids, they do like just different art shows,
Yeah.
like whether it's like a gallery or like a DJ show or like a rapper or whatever. And so Jason was like, oh, I want to do like a Warhol Kids in Toronto, like it's my city, like I've got the connects out there, we could totally make something happen. And I was like, okay, sure, like I'd be down if you wanted to book me, like let me know.
Yeah.
And so he did, and this is like so funny and cliche, but there's a hotel in Toronto called the Drake Hotel. It has nothing to do with the Drake Hotel in Chicago. It's like a random hotel called the Drake.
Yeah.
And they did like a hotel takeover where there's like multiple floors.
Oh, damn.
And in the basement there's like a proper venue with like a stage and a bar and like room for like a crowd and a dance floor. So we played that with these two artists from Chicago. They're like a duo called Muex.
Okay.
And it's Vicky and Johnny, and they're great. They're like super awesome. Vicky's like got an amazing like female vocal powerhouse. Like she's so cool. And they're more like, I want to say like pop mixed with like hip hop and then like dance fusion.
Fuck yeah.
It's cool. They're super cool. And then we played with God, why am I blanking? There's a duo from Canada. They're very famous. Majid Jordan or Majid Jordan.
Yeah.
So
shit.
Jordan
They're
Ullman.
huge. They work with Drake.
Yeah, I'm like not so much familiar with their music, to be quite honest.
Yeah, that's okay.
Ever since I started DJing, I kind of like lost track of like, and this sounds so
Everything else?
This
I
sounds
understand.
so like pretentious to be like, I don't listen to any like popular music now that I'm a DJ. But like when you start DJing, you kind of have to only like exclusively listen to like your tracks that you download, so that you can know like, oh, this is a track I'm about to play.
Gotta perfect it.
So yeah, we played with Jordan Ullman from the duo.
That's pretty
and
dope.
another DJ. His name is Jesse Marco.
Okay.
And he's cool as fuck. And somebody told me that A-Track like trained him, and he was scratching on CDJs.
Oh.
And I'd never
Crushing?
seen that before.
Yeah, some people really.
And
do
he was using CDs like I've never seen anybody. No, like not even like the most high-paid, most famous DJ in the world that I've ever seen live. Like they could not use that equipment in the most like instrumental way.
Holy shit.
that he did. And I'm like the music choice, like he's very much more like tech house open format kind of vibes,
He was
or like scratching. And I was like,
how dope.
I gave it up to him. I had to pour one out for him. I really did.
That's awesome.
And that was like my first gig, and I like stayed in Toronto for like 2 days after that to like explore, and then I flew back to Chicago, and I was like, I'm ready to be a DJ.
Fuck
and then
yeah, you are. Keep that ball rolling.
My first gig was international.
That's awesome. Good start.
Sometimes, like, I don't know what it is, but like I get really lucky sometimes, and like that was one of those things where I look back on it and I'm like, I'll never forget shit like that. I just
grateful for it.
Yeah,
that's all you
so
can
grateful,
do.
so humble. Like, I feel very blessed, very,
Things come
very
your way, and
blessed. Yeah.
It's sometimes not even up to you.
No,
right?
totally. And I'm just trying to like, continue pushing the culture of DJing and house music in Chicago as forward as I can.
Mm-hmm.
I've been like very open about like anybody wanting like to get a free lesson or two.
I'm so with you there. Yeah.
Especially other women. I have so many girls like hitting me up that are like just random people on Instagram even being like, hey, I see you're like a DJ, like could you teach me? And I'm like, yeah, like literally here's my address, like come over, like pick out some tracks, like I will teach you if you want.
Yeah.
Like, we can't gatekeep, even
I
though
agree.
there's a lot of competition, but like whatever, like everybody can do it if they want.
I feel like a Jedi Master too, because I'm
Yeah.
training like 2 or 3 people right now.
Yeah.
And if I see that you want to fucking do it and you come prepared and you are serious about it and you focus and you do it, and it's so cool because some people help me, right? Everybody says DJ market is so saturated, and maybe it is. I think the more DJs enter the scene just mean that there's more music lovers that are diving deeper. Because until I came a DJ, I didn't go deep.
Yeah, no,
right? You
never...
listen to Spotify playlists, Apple Music, whatever, like you said, right? Like before you know, Eli and Fur popped up, and you're like, this is good.
And I'm like, this is underground music.
Right, in my AirPods or some shit. And then you come and you go into it, and you're like, okay, I don't know when I'm gonna play this song. Like, I can't remember what. I had a recent gig, and it was Concord, Gorgon City. I had this track that I was like, one day I'm gonna drop this, and it's gonna be the right moment. Tony was there. Tony, the progressive one that he was like, is he dropping a lesso? And no, I fucking wasn't. It's like this huge synth buildup, and the first time I heard it, I was like crying. I was like, this is fucking incredible. I don't know when I could play this, and I did it, and I remember picking it out, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna play it.
Yeah.
And everybody loved it, and it was so special for me.
That's
because it's one of those things, and it made me think afterwards, unless I really loved this, and I saved this, and I always thought about it, and I always made sure it was in my playlist, because you never know, right?
Yeah.
Because people that come into sets prepared, even though sometimes it is important, you never know what's gonna happen. So to have that shit ready is so special. So the more people that come into this shit, like my friend that I'm really helping, he bought like the XDJ, and now he's like, I should have bought CDJs, and I'm like, I should have bought CDJs. But you know, he's sending me music, and I'm like, damn, this is fucking good. And he's like, I spent 3 hours looking for music. I don't know what happened, but here's 40 amazing tracks. And I was like, fuck yeah, like the more people, the better.
Exactly. No, I mean, like my best friend, the one who I was talking about earlier, her name's Liz. She, like, her main thing is, like, styling.
Okay.
She lives in Miami. Miami scene is, like, really fucking popping off right now.
We're going to Miami for the first time for Miami Music Week.
Oh, man, that's going to be fun.
So
that's going to
excited.
be really fun.
Cannot wait.
She has been going to, like, boiler room sets out there. She's been going to, like, just all the clubs. It's, like, obviously Space and all of those clubs are, like, super fun to go to. And she also, whenever she's in town, I like always walk her through the CDJs. I'm like, she owns like a controller at home. She doesn't really like touch it a whole lot anymore because like styling and like her other artistic practices kind of like get in the way of it a little bit. But she's always like, oh, I should have been practicing. But when she gets on the CDJs, I'm like, you're a natural at this. And she's pulling out tracks that I'm like, wait a second. Like, I go over, I press like the little info button. I'm like, I need to steal this one because this is a hot track. Yeah. I mean, she's coming from like the Miami bass music and electro scene, and like she's pulling some tracks that are just so obscure.
Don't you love that, though?
And like so cool. And like, it's just go see DJs. Go see DJs. Whenever I'm like, any advice I can give to any upcoming or like aspiring DJ is to go see other DJs play. That's like the number one thing. Whenever Seamus would like take me to Smart Bar on a weekend, he would be like, okay, we're going to school. Yeah, seriously. So instead of like going out for the night and like partying or whatever, he's like, no, like you pay attention to you pay attention to like what they're doing up there. Like listen for the transitions, listen for the effects, listen for the EQing. Like you can hear it all if you like actually pay attention to it. Absolutely. And even when they mess up, it's like every DJ messes up, and like I almost like it when a DJ messes up because that really like makes you more aware of what is actually happening up there, where you're like, when you're just gliding through a perfect set, like, that's amazing too. But sometimes when you can hear a little like rough beat matching or something, you're like, okay, like they're actually doing shit up there. Absolutely. And, like I remember that in that moment. And so
I wholeheartedly agree with you. Part of the reason I got so into it is because I loved watching these guys. And then I went through that phase where I was, being too analytical. It's like, I could have done a better beat transition. I'm like, shut the fuck up, man. Who are you? You're some douchebag in the crowd right now. Yeah. Not even saying anything to anyone. I'm just
There's so many memes about that where it's like the... Oh, God, and they're kind of like pornographic memes. I know what you mean. Where it's like all the DJ, it'll be like something like desirable or someone desirable, and then all the like people hovering around it, and that's like all the DJs in the party, like, it's true, and the mixer.
all just being like, I can do it better.
Yeah.
And it's so important not to think like that, because you want everybody to be your peer, right? Like, you want people to respect you. You want people to understand that you care. And that's my thing too. Like, I'm willing to help anybody that really shows me, like, I'm not gonna use my time when I could maybe even be bettering myself or somebody else that does care, unless you show it to me. But there's nothing more special to me than giving people the opportunity to learn and then showcase that, right? So
no, absolutely, especially when it comes down to like even just the art of mixing. Even if like these people are like, when people are like, I don't have any intention of like really playing out or like becoming a famous DJ, like their aspirations aren't that, but like they want to learn how to play music as like a craft or like a hobby. That's even like very special, because I know like, you know, even in like my darkest times, like I can turn to like that as a form of like therapy and a form of like release and like a spiritual practice for me, where I can like really connect and like just get my mind off of whatever the fuck my mind is on and kind of externalize for a bit to be like,
it's a workout.
Exactly. And it's especially the genres that we play, they're so mantric and repetitive, and like they have like frequencies. There's like science behind it where like your brain like releases certain chemicals because of like A, B, C, and D. I'm not a scientist. I'm not like a psychologist either, but like, you know, I can't explain it in all details, but
it's okay.
There's cool shit happening, and like it's very, I don't know, I want to say it's like good for you almost.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. I mean, it's pretty crazy, because although there are so many DJs coming into the scene, there's still so much opportunity for people to become big. I think that although it seems like it's so hard to make it, people need to define their definition of make it.
Yeah.
It's like you said, do people really want to be Loco Dice and Movement on the pyramid stage? Maybe. But you gotta know what the fuck it takes to get there, motherfucker.
Seriously.
And I'm dropping cuss words because it takes that much fucking work, right? Or are you okay being the resident DJ at Smart Park? What's your definition of success?
Yeah.
And I think people need to define that as soon as they can.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, I almost think that like people who are just in it for the fame and in it for like the notoriety, it's like, don't do it at all. Like, go be an actor or something. Like, when you're just like that kind of like money hungry, power hungry, fame hungry, it's like
you're clogging the pipe.
Yeah, exactly. You're not doing it for the right reasons. Like, this isn't like a rock band. This isn't like you want to be like a famous rapper, you know? Like, you're putting out your shit on SoundCloud hoping that like an agent finds you. It's like, sure, like that would be nice if it happened to you as a DJ, but if that's like your main thing, like it's kind of like, just get in line, I guess, like, or just like fucking kill your ego or something. Like, this is so much bigger than just one specific person. And I, you know, if I could be blessed enough to be able to do DJing as like my main thing, my main job, I would be so grateful. The main thing that I always take away from any of my sets is that when I'm at my job, my 9 to 5, like, it's good by all intents and purposes. It's like a totally stable source of income, and like I'm lucky to have it. When I'm playing out for a crowd, like the unadulterated joy across people's faces, just like the smiles, the laughing, the dancing, just like the freedom of expression that I see, like you can't walk into an office and find that. Like, you can't go anywhere and find that. Like, you have to like really be in a specific environment to like see just like the most, like, it's almost childlike, but it's so beautiful, like, to see how free people let themselves be in those spaces and on those dance floors, and like really give it up.
It's special.
Yeah, it's so special. And like, when I, like, that was one of the things that I took away from the 23-hour party is like, I really focused on like the emotions from people in the crowd and like really fed on that. And when I walked off, I just like looked at Seamus and I was like, or Zooey, and I was like, this is like all I want to do. Like, this is all I want to be doing. And it was like a chilling, very chilling thing.
That's so incredible. I mean, you really just like brought it full circle there too. It is about what you can serve, right? Like, what am I giving to other people? Like, you want to share your love of it, your internal love with it, and just blast it out.
Yeah.
Through your track selection, through your energy, you know, just to bring up another thing about Smart Part, Derek Carter, right? Like, fucking legend, you know? Guy's,
such a legend.
Guy's insane, right? And one of the things he says that I talk about all the time is he said, if you're not having fun, the DJ, then who the fuck else is having fun?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, like, again, it's like, you gotta check your ego at the door when you're a DJ. Like, the point isn't for you to be having a ton of fun. Like, you have to be, like, you're providing a service, you're providing an art form, like, you're putting on a performance, but, like, the intention behind it needs to be, like, almost in service to the people that are coming to see you. Mm-hmm. It's like any other musician. Like, you gotta, like, put on a memorable act, but I think for house and techno, this genre runs so deep, it's so spiritual for people that, like, you really have to, like, come correct, and you really have to, like, understand what this music and what these dance floor spaces mean to people, and you can't take that for granted. You can't be like, I'm, like, the best, and you're so, like, privileged to come see me play at your club. It's like, no, like, oh my God, when people come up to me, like, after my sets and tell me that I did a good job, like, or, like, come up and thank me, I'm like, no, like, thank you so much. Like, I literally want to, like, cry in those moments and, like, literally, like, hug everyone and be like, what's your name? Like, I can't believe you're at my show. Or if someone says that they, like, saw me at another place, I'm like, really? You were there? Like, wow. Like, that's so cool. Like, I, like, you know, I don't think I'm shit right now. Like, I try and be as, like, you know, just as humble as I can be, but I also, you know, like, I see DJs all the time, and I, like, go out on the weekends and I see clubs just, like, packed, and then when I play, like, they're not always packed, so I'm kind of, like, I'm still very, like, humble about where I'm at, and, like, that's okay. Like, I have tons of time to, like, get better and better and bigger if that's what I want. And so when people do say that they come to my shows, I'm like, that's just so special to me, and, like, I'm just so grateful, and it's really awesome.
Do people like it when you say, or what's your reaction when you say I'm a Chicago house DJ?
Oh my God, it's so funny. Sometimes I'll have people, like, think that I play, like death metal, kind of, like
what?
like electronic music, like, just very, I mean, like, for what they think it would sound like that, but, like, aka, like, 145 industrial, like, driving techno, like, Berghain stuff.
Good Lord.
And that's not what I play. I mean, there are people who do play that, and, like, shout out to them. I don't play that.
Shout out to them, indeed,
just not my, that's not my vibe. That's not, like, where am I?
145,
That's so fast, it's, like, slow at that point. But, you know, that's sometimes when people think of techno, that's, like, kind of what they imagine in their mind. And,
true.
I mean, that's all good and fair. Like, I think in the media, it's, like, portrayed one way or another. But other times people are like, oh, wow, like, that's cool. I've also, like, faced some criticism because of, like, what I used to do in fashion, and, like, how I kind of marketed myself as, like, a model for a while. I think, like, because DJing has become so, like, almost like a trend. It's very, like, trendy to be, like, a DJ right now.
You're doing it again in one way or another.
Yeah, and they're just like, oh, like, of course, like, model turned DJ, blah, blah. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's just, like, my heart's in it for, like, the right reasons. I didn't know that it was trendy to be a DJ when I wanted to be a DJ, and, like, I don't know. This is, like, I don't see myself ever, like, losing interest in this. I kind of, like, gave myself the first 3 months of learning to be like, is this something that I, like, actually am going to want to, like, stick with?
Sure.
Do I think that I could get good at this? Is this something that I'm enjoying doing? And it just, like, literally, like, stuck like crazy. Kind of how, like, Zooey says that I kind of picked it up in, like, 6 months.
You did.
I really did. And it's, like, kind of crazy. I think my background as, like, a kid growing up playing, like, 3 instruments, like, my parents really were like, you gotta play, like, 2 sports and, like, 3 instruments, and you have to learn, like, a new language. Like, they really wanted to, like, well-round me, which is awesome and, like, amazing, and now I know how to, like, do it when I have kids. But yeah, so my, like, love of music growing up, and, like, I was in a band in high school, I just, like, I have, like, the theory knowledge and stuff like that. So when it came to, like, the structuring of songs and, like, phrasing tracks together and like knowing kind of, like, the right time to, like, do stuff and manipulate the track in this way and that, I kind of was able to figure it out pretty quickly, which felt pretty good.
That's
so
amazing. I mean,
yeah.
seriously, you should be proud of yourself.
Thank you. I am very proud of myself.
Good. I don't hear a lot of people acknowledge themselves like that, and that's important.
I try and,
Good for
like, you know, you've got to be, like, grateful and humble, but also, like, give it up to yourself every now and then when you do something that
Right.
you're proud of. Like, don't not, like, put that in and, like, weigh that for what it's worth, because there's so many other DJs that would take that opportunity from you in a heartbeat.
Amen. And you're an entrepreneur, right? Like, your successes and your failures are because of you.
Yeah.
And you need to learn from your mistakes
Yeah.
and why you overcome obstacles and what you can do to just keep going like this, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And so I'm going to do it with, like, my whole heart in it, with, like, all of the best intentions for as long as I can, because I'm really not giving myself any other option at this point. I'm just, like, very much like, okay, like, we're going to do this, and, like, we need to figure out how to do this. And Shay and I are collaborating with another artist right now on hopefully releasing an EP soon.
Okay.
And actually, one of the tracks that we made, we played at the 23-hour party.
Really? I was gonna want to get into production here. So you guys are collabing, you're producing?
Yeah, we're producing right now. We have, like, one track fully mastered. We're working on a second one and then hopefully a third one. And hopefully we'll be able to release a 3-track EP in the next, like, couple of months is, like, our timeline.
First in line, front row again to support you guys. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I'll be the dad again.
I will send, you'll be the first one I send all the tracks to.
Yes.
And yeah, it'll be a great thing. I'm super excited. I've never produced before, so this is going to be, like, a big thing. And I've really found that I, like, love producing, and we are, like, super fortunate to find, like, really talented artists who's, like, willing to collaborate with us. His name's Shane, and he plays the guitar beautifully, and he's also super into house and techno, and, like, he's definitely got this, like, amazing ear and perspective on how to approach production. And so we're all kind of, like, putting our minds together and our creative juices flowing into, like, one thing. So
it's awesome.
It's really awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah. You're in such a good place right now, and I just again want to acknowledge you for all the hard work you've put in. I mean, hearing your story now only solidifies it more to me.
Thank you.
And again, shout out to Manifest.
Shout out Manifest.
You guys are doing special things for the city, and
thank you.
From someone who tries to do the same for the city, I commend you guys for that.
I really appreciate that. We're going to keep doing it and keep giving it up to Chicago.
Absolutely. Keep getting up for Chicago. Keep getting up for yourself, though, Abigail.
I'll do my best.
Okay,
I'll do my best.
Well, this is so much fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And
Absolutely.
Until next time.
Until next time. We're going to have to do a roundtable with the Manifest, probably,
man.
right?
That would be so exciting. You need to get Chelsea on the mic.
I love hanging out with her. She makes me laugh more than anybody else.
Anybody in the world.
Yeah.
She is the best comedian I've ever seen, and I've been to stand up, and she is, like, the funniest. So we're going to do a roundtable discussion, and
Let's do it.
Let her shine.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
Well, shout out to you. Thank you again for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you so much.